Have you ever been to a place where the wind seems to whisper? Where thousands of eyes follow your every move from behind the trees? I have. Everyone told me I was crazy, warned me not to go into those deep woods. I didn't listen. I had no idea that behind the breathtaking beauty of nature lay a primitive darkness. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of that cursed cabin and the secrets of the deep forest. But be warned, after hearing this, you might not be able to sleep in the dark alone. I am a writer. To escape the chaos of the city, I decided to spend a few months in a secluded forest at the foot of the Rocky Mountains. I found an old log cabin for rent online at a cheap price. When I arrived, it looked like paradise. But as soon as I stepped into the nearby small village, I felt something was wrong. When I mentioned the cabin to an old shopkeeper, he froze. The teacup in his hand began to tremble. He said, "Son, that cabin is not a good place. 50 years ago, the family that built it vanished in a single night. To this day, the police have found no trace of them." I laughed it off, thinking these were just typical local superstitions. But when the first night fell at the cabin, I felt the air grow heavy. It was exactly 2 a.m. Suddenly, the glass of my cabin window began to vibrate violently. I pulled back the curtain and looked out into the pitch-black darkness. That's when I heard it. It wasn't the sound of an animal. It sounded like a rusty old engine trying to start, but mixed with a heavy human groan. The sound kept coming closer and then drifting away. Sitting inside, it felt as if someone was pacing around the cabin with heavy footsteps. The next morning, I went into the woods behind the cabin. What I saw there made my blood run cold. A 10-foot-tall pine tree had been ripped out by its roots and jammed back into the ground upside down. The roots were pointing toward the sky, like some sinister omen. It was impossible for any human or ordinary machine to do such a thing in this dense forest. When I spoke to a local hunter, he sighed and looked at me. "What you heard is the forest demon," he said. "He doesn't want anyone in his territory. And that tree? That's not just a sight, it's a warning. He is watching you." That afternoon, I returned to the cabin to pack my bags and leave. But then I noticed a large X mark drawn in mud on my door. I rushed inside and locked the door quickly. As night fell, the sound started again. But this time, it wasn't coming from the woods. This time, the sound was coming from the roof of my cabin. Thud, thud, the sound of heavy footsteps. It felt like someone was trying to break through the roof. I sat huddled in a corner, paralyzed with fear. Suddenly, my laptop screen turned on by itself. In the glow of the webcam, I saw a pair of large, glowing yellow eyes staring at me from outside the window. And those eyes, they didn't belong to an animal. They looked human. What did I see that night? Did I make it out alive? To find out, stay tuned for the next part.